Hi, my name is Gibson, and I'm the co-owner and creator of the Personal Development School. This is your daily breakthrough video, and in this video, I want to talk a little bit about how the fearful avoidant attachment style individual can sometimes confuse love or extreme attraction or infatuation and longing to a certain degree with guilt and caretaking. So before I dive in, and I'm sure everybody's super curious about what this means, before I dive in, we are still doing our sale to support our community right now. If you're interested in joining the school, there's an opportunity to join for 25% off, and the coupon code is with you. It's all one word, and that 25% off applies for membership bundles specifically. So 3-month, 6-month, 12-month joining of the program. We offer a money-back guarantee if you're not super happy with the content, because everybody's very happy with the content, which I'm extremely grateful and excited about. Another thing that I will say is the courses that we're doing this month in there are about strengthening self-identity, which really means like understanding your needs, who you are, your boundaries, how to meet your own needs, and repairing trust. And this is such an important course, the repairing trust one for fearful avoidance, where we talk about the repairing the internal trust baseline, our subconscious associations we have to trust as a whole, and then repairing trust in a relationship if trust has been broken, if we decide to want to do that, and also repairing self-trust by setting our own boundaries and recognizing our shadow side of where trust reparations might need to take place. So let's talk about this topic. This came up in a webinar that I was doing the other day where somebody had basically asked, essentially something along the lines, I can't exactly remember what it was, but something along the lines of they find themselves being like pulled back into relationships when they see a loved one in pain and they're not really sure if they want to leave that relationship. But that guilt seems to come with some kind of longing to a certain degree. And so here's something really important to note. And here are the deep reasons why this happens. We all have a subconscious comfort zone for what love means. And that subconscious comfort zone, unless it has been programmed by completely different experiences that are repetitive enough and elicit emotional responses enough that they actually outweigh our original childhood experiences and associations for love, then basically we're carrying the childhood associations for love. And so what can take place is if they haven't been reprogrammed, we have to look at what those earliest associations for love are. And for fearful avoidance as a general rule, the subconscious comfort zone is largely made up of feelings like love equals caretaking. I am playing the role of the adult. My caregivers are playing the role of the children to a certain degree. I drag others through life. I pull them along and get them going. I take care of them. And there's a lot of caretaking and there's a lot of guilt. And a lot of guilt for being imperfect when you see caregivers in pain. And this is because oftentimes there's some kind of enmeshed role that the fearful avoidant child has at a very young age. And so this enmeshed role can consist of maybe having a parent or multiple caregivers who are struggling with addiction, a lot of fighting, anger, a lot of emotional expression, sometimes PASing a child, PAS, which is parental alienation syndrome. Essentially, it means like one caregiver can really be like pitting the other caregiver against the child, and the child can sort of be a pawn being pulled back and forth in the middle. And I can do a whole separate video on this one, really important for fearful avoidance specifically. Wow, I can't believe I haven't done a video on that yet. Anyways, that's a very common one for fearful avoidance. And so either way, basically a child sees a lot of like caregivers not being okay. And because a child's mind is very aware that they're dependent on their caregivers for survival, there can be this panic and this need to like fix the caregiver in order to stay safe. So fixing somebody else for fearful avoidance is actually linked to survival and safety at a subconscious level. Those are the emotional associations built in there. And so what can take place is all of these, you can think of this like paradigm, which is your paradigm of associations for what love is. And love is guilt, caretaking, fear that somebody's not going to be okay, this need or desire to fix somebody. And it can feel like you're being really drawn in when you see somebody in pain. And this can be the reason often that fearful avoidants end up in relationships with people they feel like they have to caretake. And they can even be attracted to and interested in those types of people as a natural sort of attraction factor in relationships. Now, there are two other factors, and I have a full separate video about this, but there's two other factors that create attraction at the subconscious level. They're also if we perceive that somebody's meeting our needs, especially our personality needs, which are basically the forefrontal needs of our personality, of our psyche, sort of at a subconscious level. And so there's that component. And then there's also the component at if somebody expresses traits that we want to express more of or that we've actively repressed. We can feel attraction from that as well. But what we'll experience specifically to this topic of this video is when a fearful avoidant feels like they see somebody in pain or broken or going through something, that drawing in is that subconscious comfort zone igniting, but that paradigm of what love is made up of and all those subconscious stored emotional associations actually being activated, much like how a trigger works. And so these old wounds in your subconscious mind basically have a lot of like cathartic stored emotion around them and say like, oh, brokenness or pain or somebody that I have to take care of or somebody who's sad or somebody I might be hurting. Oh my gosh, this triggers all these emotional associations of deep connection. The earliest, deepest connections you had. Think about what it might feel like, as an example, to be a child, to not have any romantic associations yet in your life, and maybe very few friendships, or at least friendships are on a more of a surface level because you live at home and you're not building this depth of friendship at a very young age. And imagine you see a caregiver in pain and that caregiver is being vulnerable to you and you're present, and there's this connection between two parties, a child and their caregiver, of emotional vulnerability and presence and seeing pain. It's a very intimate and deep connection that gets built. It's not necessarily a healthy one, but it's very deep and intimate. And so when you see that in another adult in your adult life, if you haven't done reprogramming work around that, it can trigger some of those strong feelings again and that deep desire to fix, to help, to change. And so we really want to know the difference, because sometimes what can take place is somebody can get locked into relationships where they're trying to play the role of fixing somebody, in a sense, to resolve that pattern of the cycle you went through in childhood, and to be able to resolve now what you couldn't then. Sort of for cathartic and emotional progression reasons. And at a subconscious level, not saying that that's the right thing to do, but that's the draw from your subconscious sometimes. And so what can take place is we can just enter into codependent relationships. If part of what you infatuate with or what attracts you to somebody else is based on like basically codependency and enmeshment, then you're not making room for you to be a full, whole individual and heal and become, and not saying that somebody's not actually whole, but all of your parts aren't necessarily completely integrated in the healthiest, highest expression of what they could be. Nobody's actually like not whole. And so that's like a poor choice of words. So what can happen is, if you can bring all of that and you can be the best, highest expression of yourself, highest version of yourself, then what takes place is if you shift that subconscious comfort zone and you have really good boundaries and you're really aware of your own feelings and needs, and you create healthy interdependence, which really requires 4 key things. I'm aware of my own needs. I can meet my own needs. I can express my needs to others, and I can receive my needs being met from others. And it's so important to see, like, do you have all 4 of those things intact? Because that's extremely important. And am I aware of my codependent patterns? And have I reprogrammed them? And am I aware of my boundaries? And do I feel safe and empowered to communicate them? And all of these things are super important, so that not only do you become secure in the relationship to yourself, and so your new subconscious comfort zone of things you're attracted to becomes, well, if I'm secure and that's my new relationship that I've reprogrammed to self, I've reprogrammed those original wounds that I was still replaying and re-traumatizing or recycling on autopilot, without realizing that kept that comfort zone alive, that keeps me attracted to people who I have to fix or save or take care of. But if I change and I become secure in relationship to self, and I reprogram those neural pathways, and I create new neural pathways and new neural circuits, and these old ones atrophy, then essentially I become attracted to people who are also secure, and it creates a healthier opportunity and dynamic in relationships. So If this is you, I really, really, truly recommend going into the school, doing the emotional mastery and belief reprogramming course, doing the needs course to get really super clear on your needs and like who you are, doing the codependency course and enmeshment course. It's one course together, codependency and enmeshment, and then really doing the advanced fearful avoidant course. And by the end of that, you're not going to have this problem again. So that's what I recommend. We're also offering scholarships to people right now if you're going through any financial difficulty. But if you're like, oh my gosh, this is me, then this is like really important work for you to be doing for the long-term health and longevity of your life and relationship. So, and relationships in general. But you can also like do a deep dive into this video, and like I'll put some more content out here as well, and do everything I can to sort of create support around this specific topic. So let me know anything else that you want to see in the comments below. So I hope that all makes sense. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you for being here. Please like, share, and subscribe, and I will see you in the next video.